or the meditation. And yeah, just tonight we're going to do, I'm playing around with a couple of technical things to see how I could add sound to the meditation. I got some really great music that was recorded many years ago by one of my mentors, Mr. Topher Morrison. And he actually worked with a couple of fairly famous musicians, and there's even a didgeridoo added in just for ethnicity, I guess. And it's just I think it's going to be a really cool ad. I was playing around with the volume earlier, but if anyone has any feedback, I have the chat open. I'm going to try not to be distracted by it, but when we start the meditation, if anything, if the music's too loud compared to my voice, just give me some feedback. But I did test it earlier, and it looked like it was working well as far as volume. So tonight is about something really cool that most people just don't do. And to me, it's really a useful thing. And I think Esther's request earlier to, give some guidelines on how you can meditate on your own. Meditation is something that I think is more discovered than created. And the thing that most people just don't do is follow your inner wisdom. So that's really what we're going to focus on tonight is kind of getting in touch with and following your inner wisdom and really realizing where it comes from. So, one of the things that, I've heard discussed many times is intuition, so, I love playing around with words. It's what I do for a living. I've done it ever since I was a kid. I've played around with words. Maybe it comes from a background of my father having a marketing business or an ad agency. But I love the word intuition, intuit, so I'm, someone says they like something, they say, I'm really into it, but what does that mean, being into it? You're in it, you're in the moment, you're in the experience of it, you're having the best of the opportunity, like staying present. So I think when you're present with yourself, that's really the biggest aspect of what meditation is about, to trust in your intuition, and be into it. So intuition is defined as the ability to understand something immediately without the need for conscious reasoning, or, it's not just about understanding it. It's just about like almost an instant knowing, a realization. So, the statement that they gave, along with the definition that I love, is we shall allow our intuition to guide us. So, I think that's the essence of meditation, is just allowing your intuition to guide you. Sometimes we get in a state where our mind goes blank, but then all of a sudden we drift from thought to thought. And, if you allow your intuition to guide you where it takes you, and sometimes you're consciously distracted while your other than conscious mind just goes deeper into the lesson or the benefit or whatever it is that you're meant to gain from the experience. And when you're in that and you're gaining from the experience, your inner guide will guide you to wonderful experiences of health, wonderful experiences of wealth, wonderful experiences of love. So those are really the three areas that we're going to focus on tonight, and they're really big areas. But to me, it's a key thing. It's part of my personal meditation every day. Is I have several, but it starts with health and wealth and love. If you're healthy and you're wealthy, and wealthy is more than just money. It's having a wealth of abundance of good resources in your life, and you're using them resourcefully, and love. So a multi-billionaire that I met years ago, told me there's three things that we need. We need something to do, someone to love, and something to hope for. So, to me, all of those are combined into health and wealth and love. When we have our health and we have wealth, and that can include financial wealth, which gives us the resources to live our life the way that we want to. What's wrong with that? And when we have love in our life, that kind of creates this trifecta of peace and joy and happiness and harmony and prosperity in all ways. So, when you learn to trust this inner guide, your kind of inner wisdom. So I have a friend of mine does a group on law of attraction, and we were texting back and forth the other day, and we don't always agree on everything. As a matter of fact, a lot of times we disagree, but we appreciate each other, and that disagreement sometimes leads to a greater understanding. So we ended our conversation yesterday, and I didn't dispute it, even though I do have a definite dispute for it. So she said, knowledge is power, right? And a lot of people agree knowledge is power, but I don't believe that. I believe that knowledge could be powerful, but sometimes knowledge can be dangerous. So it's correct knowledge. One of my friends had an expression, luck, laboring under correct knowledge. So when you have the right knowledge and you apply it, see, the real power to me comes from the right knowledge applied in the right way over long periods of time. So then those experiences of gaining knowledge and utilizing your knowledge in the most resourceful way becomes what I call wisdom. And for me, wisdom is power, because wisdom is the application, the proper application of the right knowledge for the right situation. So Tony Robbins says a lot, you're not lacking resources, you're just lacking resourcefulness. So I have a trance that I created years ago before ever even hearing Tony Robbins say that, but it's called Resourceful Resources. And my kind of tongue-in-cheek quote about that is, a resource is only a resource if you use it resourcefully. So I use an analogy to describe this. There's two men standing next to each other, and they're both dressed almost in rags of clothes. Neither one of them is shaven. Their hair is kind of crazy, and they both look like street bums off the streets of New York City. But what someone wouldn't know just looking at them passing down the street is that there's a big house behind them, and one of them owns that house. And the one that owns that house is standing on top of a pile of dirt. And deep underneath that pile of dirt is jars and jars of solid gold coins. The actual pauper standing next to him, has nothing except the clothes on his back and the dirt under his feet, if you count that for anything. So what's the difference between the two of them is that the wealthy man with all these gold coins and owns the house behind him has sworn to not touch any of his gold. And the pauper next to him has no gold. So what's the difference? One has resources, the other has no resources. But the one who has the resources has sworn to not use it, and the one who doesn't have the resources couldn't use it. So it's really no difference if you have all these wonderful resources and you don't use them. So I like you to take a moment and imagine a window, like an old-fashioned window with 4 panes of glass in it. And you look into the first pane, and that represents public information. It's all the things you know about yourself and others know about you as well. It's all the things you say, hey, I'm this, I'm that, I like this, I like that. And if you asked anyone, they'd say, yeah, you're like that, and you like all those things. I can tell. All right, so that's public information. Then window number 2 is the things that you know or realize about yourself, but no one else knows. That's private information. You don't really share that with others. They can't necessarily tell intuitively. They might guess, but you don't really share it with anyone. It's your private information. Window number 3 is critique, right? Not necessarily criticism. It could be criticism, but it's the observation of others, of what they see in you that you might not see in yourself. They could see greatness for you. And I think this is kind of the essence of coaching, at least in my model of coaching, is that you see in someone else what they might not even see within themselves. And that feedback that you give them could be invaluable to kind of open up their eyes. But here's my favorite one, the 4th window. The 4th window is buried treasures, right? It's the things you don't know about yourself and no one knows about you. It's that undiscovered thing that when you discover it, it's like, wow, and then it could become public information at that point, but you didn't even know that you knew it, or you didn't even know you liked it. Like when I was 23 years old, a friend of mine invited me on a ski trip. I went skiing for the first time in my life and I was hooked. I've gone skiing so much since then, it's ridiculous. But up until 23, I mean, I had been invited many times before to go skiing. I mean, in grade school, I had a friend that every weekend during the winter, they would go skiing and he'd invite me up to their chalet in Mount Snow, and I just never went. I didn't know if I'd like it. I don't know if I'd be good at it. But at 23, I said, what have I got to lose? I'm active. It sounds like fun, good people, good time. And I went and I fell in love with it. And I skied 15 different ski trips that year alone. And, had I not gone, I would not have discovered that buried treasure. I didn't know that I loved it. So, there's things in our lives that are in that area of buried treasure. And when we explore, when we dig a little here, dig a little there, you can uncover some of these buried treasures within yourself. And it's a magical moment. And just what I'm going to guide you through tonight is kind of to trust your inner guide, not consciously and say, oh, I might like this. Let me explore that. Or let me take this class, or, and it does come from that. But when you trust your intuition and you get in tune with that inner voice in yourself, and you just like quiet down, like we're going to do in the meditation tonight, and just listen to that inner voice, it will guide you to discover many wonderful things about yourself. And it will also open you up that when others have things to share with you about that 3rd window, the things that they can see in you that you might not see in yourself. I'm doing a program where you have to define your superpower, right? And maybe we'll do something with this at one point, but just to plant the seed now, go around and ask friends and family or business associates or just people in your life that you trust and respect. Ask them, hey, what's my superpower, right? And just shut up and listen. And you'd be surprised at the things people tell you are your superpower. I mean, one of the things that I've realized over the years, my superpower is resilience, aside from, being really adept at hypnotizing anybody, anytime, anywhere, which is just a really cool superpower, as one of my coaches pointed out to me. So, but when you ask, people will give you answers, and it might not be something you've ever thought about. And those are the best ones, because now that could be a clue as to a buried treasure. Something that you didn't really know about yourself and others didn't know about you, and you find this kind of like inner passion. So, I follow a path that I like to say is led by synchronicities. I think that, the universe, higher power, God, as I like to call it, has a great sense of humor. And I think this sense of humor is displayed to us very blatantly as synchronicities. So synchronicities are not just coincidences, but meaningful coincidences. It's things that happen coincidentally, but then we attach meaning to it. So I have a really, really great massage therapist that I highly recommend, but not too much, because I want her to still have time to see me. Although right now she can't even see clients, which I'm very upset about because I hurt my back yesterday. But when I first met her, she had an awesome office in Huntington Village, Long Island, and I go in there, and she has a large room that's kind of like she could do like yoga classes in there, like small yoga classes, like maybe 8 or 10 people. She had a men's group that met there a couple times a week, and she would do meditations there, different things. She's since moved, and now I share an office with her actually. But when I walked into the office, it was either the first or the second time I was there, maybe the second time. And all of a sudden there was this Native American drum in the corner. And I looked at the drum and I started to talk to her about, I had been watching these political videos, I think from the debates of the last election. And somehow I just I kind of dozed off. I guess I guess maybe I was a little too tired or a little too bored from the debates, one or the other or both. And what happened was a song came on that had nothing to do with it, I thought. And it was a song, that I had heard many years ago growing up in the 70s called The Sound of Silence by Simon and Garfunkel. Only this was not Simon and Garfunkel. It was far from Simon and Garfunkel. It was a band that I'd never heard of, nor would I even think to look up. The name of the band was called Disturbed. And any of you who know me know that I'm like the farthest thing from listening to something called Disturbed, like even my vitamins are called Positive Thoughts. So, I'm not going to go out of my way to listen to a band Disturbed, but here I am listening to this video and watching it. And all of a sudden I realized that this song that I had heard like hundreds of times before and just thought it was like this happy, feel good song from the 70s. All of a sudden watching their version of it, I realized it had huge political overtones to it. And, he put a little bit more emotion into it and kind of built up throughout the song. Whereas the Simon and Garfunkel version, even going back and listening to it, it's kind of the same tone from the beginning to the end of the song. And it's kind of upbeat with, very lively harmonies and kind of an upbeat sounding guitar rhythm behind it. But the Disturbed version, I mean, first of all, he comes on, the lighting's very dramatic, kind of like down, and he's got like 3 metal bars going through his chin, and it's like a close up on his face, and he's like, "Hello, darkness, my old friend." And it's like, whoa, what is this? I've never heard this version of the song before. But I was so fascinated by it. And at the end, it has just like a really profound ending. And it just gave whole new meaning to the song to me. And it really tied in with the political climate, whether whatever your political agenda is. And I wound up watching it like 6 or 7 times. And in the song, the drummer, each person, grabs their instrument and they find it in kind of a weird place. But the drummer kind of finds this Native American Indian drum in a tree, and he reaches up and grabs it down from the tree. And the drum in her office looked exactly like this drum. So I started telling her the story I just told you about how I heard this song and I had never heard it before, and she's like, "Oh, I love the song Sound of Silence." And I said, "Yeah, but this is by this band Disturbed, and don't listen to any of their other stuff. It's not as happy. But listen to this one song." And she goes, "Okay, I'm going to go check it out tonight." Now, the way that I had always communicated with her was just through text. Like I'd never spoken to her on the phone. Even when I called up for my initial appointment, I did it online, and then I wound up she texted me, and we wound up texting back and forth. So when she went, she went home, she watched it, and I mean, I didn't find out till later. So the next morning, 10 o'clock, she calls me up. And I'm thinking, like, what's the matter? Like, I've never spoken to her on the phone before. Why is she calling me? I hope everything's okay. And she's like, "You're never going to believe this." She goes, "Last night I went home. I watched the video 6 times, 7 times, and then I went to sleep. I woke up this morning, my phone rang. This guy gets on the phone. He goes, 'Hello, I'm the manager of a band called Disturbed. And every show, the band hires a massage therapist to come backstage and massage them so that they could be relaxed, because they're really high energy. They put a lot into the show, and it really, gets them hyped up and stressed out. So they like to start off at least being calm and relaxed before the show, in a good place, loose and limber. They're running around, they're doing a lot, on planes and trains and automobiles, buses and stuff, getting to the different places. So they like a massage. And what we'll do is we'll pay all your expenses. We'll send a car to pick you up. We'll bring you there. We'll feed you. You can even bring a guest if they want to come backstage and watch the band. And we'll set you up in your own private room and pay you your top fee for massaging the guys in the band. So the day before, she had never heard of the band. I had just heard about it even a day before that. And now she went and she got the gig. She made good money. They loved their massage, obviously. And her son, unbeknownst to us, loved the band Disturbed. And he was all too happy to go backstage and hear one of his favorite bands. So this is really cool. Like you can't make stuff like this happen per se, although I'm going to teach a class down the road when you guys are maybe a little bit more open to it on how you can make this stuff happen a little bit more intentionally. But the thing is to just really pay attention, that this is, yes, it's just a coincidence, but that's a pretty long stretch of a coincidence that a band that she'd never heard of before, she had never ever gotten called to go backstage and massage a band. She never even put it out there. Her website doesn't even look anything conducive to that, other than come to her wonderful office and get a massage. So, it's learning different things, different tools, different awarenesses, and to just trust that inner wisdom. I mean, she could have said, no, I'm not going to go. I got a bad feeling about this. But because she had listened to the song, because she had such a good feeling about it, and, who knows, maybe she was vibrating at the vibration of that band and that song and really liking them. And when the guy went on the internet and looked up thousands of different massage therapists, and she's not even anywhere near the closest one to the venue, but he found her site because it was a synchronistic vibration. And, I strongly believe in that. And I think it's just, it's just really funny how we can laugh at these meaningful coincidences. So I'm going to teach you something tonight, a little bit before the meditation, but I want you to understand that meditation is a skill. So this is going to tie in with your learning a skill. Anytime you learn a new skill or you learn anything new, it goes through different stages of learning. And sometimes we can skip the stages, or sometimes some of the stages go so fast it feels like we skipped them. But I'm going to take it up to the fourth and highest level, and then I'm going to kind of take it a half a step back and teach you an extra one from the way most people teach this, even if you heard it before. I know one person on the call has definitely heard it before, and we discussed it the other day. But take it in a way that maybe you're learning something new, even when you do know it. So there's 4 levels plus one of learning something, or of a knowledge or skill in any particular area in your life. So, let's relate it to something that we probably all know: driving a car, right? So when you were young, maybe like 5 or 6 years old, you didn't know that you didn't know how to drive a car, right? You were just like ignorant, like totally unconscious incompetence, right? So that's level 1. You don't know that you don't know. Level 2 is when you learn, hey, I don't know how to drive a car. So now you have conscious incompetence. You know that you don't know it, right? You learn that there's something out there that I need to learn, a piece of information, a knowledge base, a class that I need to take, but you still don't know it. You don't have the competence in it, but you know that you don't have the competence in it. So at some point, we knew that we didn't know how to drive. We wanted to learn. We wanted to take lessons. We wanted to go for a ride in the car. We wanted our parents or whoever to let us try, but we knew that we didn't know how to drive yet, right? My favorite word, yet. So, we go and we learn and we take lessons. Maybe we go to driver's education and our parents give us lessons and we practice and we practice and we practice. And then finally that momentous day, we go and we take our road test and we get our driver's license. And now we know that we know how to drive, right? We even have an external conscious convincer called a driver's license that says, hey, according to the state of wherever you are, you can drive a car. It doesn't necessarily mean you're the best driver, but it means at least you pass the levels of competency. Hopefully you're a good driver and you drive safe and you stay safe. Okay. So, at that level, we have conscious competence. You realize that you realize that you're capable of it. You have the competence and you're consciously aware of the competence that you have. So the next level is when we've been driving for many years, like most of us have now. Where you get on at exit 40, get off at exit 49, but you don't remember 41 or 47 or 43, but yet if the truck in front of you slams on its brakes, you stop safely behind it before you even realize your foot went for the brake. So now who was driving the car? Thank goodness for the unconscious part of our mind, because consciously, what are we doing? We're thinking about where we came from, where we're going to, looking at the beautiful sky or the funny face in the person in the car next to us, and yet still able to drive safely along the road. Thank goodness for the unconscious mind. So this is where we get into a process of doing the skill, or we have the knowledge and it's automatic. I teach people in my coaching program how to make good decisions, right? So we kind of take those good decisions and make them automatic, so that every decision you make from this point forward is a good decision that you realize in the moment is a good decision, and even long-term is a good decision. So like Mike was talking earlier, life is choice. So, when we have a good decision strategy and you trust your decision strategy, when you're confident in your ability to make decisions, that's where you can trust in yourself to make the best choice. And when you're making the best choice, you live the best life, right? So how do you do that? Because our choice is automatic. It's already an unconscious process, right? So when you're driving a car, it's automatic. So let's take a moment and think about like an Indy race car driver or some sort of, high speed race car driver, 200 mile an hour, going through twists and turns, and they have to drive at a whole different level. So yeah, they're still at that level of competence where, their unconscious mind is automatically shifting gears and putting the right pressure on the gas, turning the steering wheel in a way that keeps them, on track with where they need to be going. So all that's, automatic. It's unconscious competence. But when they step it back and they realize, how do I do that? They kind of create a model of that conscious, of that unconscious excellence, right? And they can step it back and look at how it's done, and then add in a level of conscious awareness to it, like some sort of conscious convincer that we're doing that automatic process. So the Indy race car driver takes it to that level where they're not just driving on autopilot, but they can also consciously add in a strategy. So they kind of have this conscious overview of the automatic process, which we call conscious excellence. So it's kind of like, they say, hey, I'm going to drop low into turn number 4 and gun it into the straightaway and pass car number 33 and win the race, right? So yeah, when they were doing that, they weren't saying, oh, I got to turn the steering wheel 10 degrees to the left, or I got to downshift and then clutch and shift it and gun it. They're not thinking about how they're moving their body to make all that happen, but they have this kind of conscious awareness over and above that to take their skills, to take their knowledge, to take the application of that to a whole new level where they can apply it. So they're using their resources more resourcefully. So speaking of cars, a lot of people tell me, I don't like where I'm at in life, or I don't like what's going on, or I don't like the situation of the world right now and this disease and everything. And I tell you, like everybody else, I'm not liking it either. I mean, I've had a lot of good things. I feel very blessed that right now, business is better than it's ever been. And, but there's a lot of people out there hurting. There's a lot of people panicking. There's a lot of people with anxiety and they have uncertainty and things like that. And, and I'm not immune to this disease. I mean, a good friend of mine passed away 2 days ago. Yesterday, I had to bury him, and it's just tragic what's going on out there. So, definitely stay safe. But at the same time, like in the class that I taught 2 weeks ago, is that you want to keep your mindset free of the virus. Yes, keep yourself safe, keep yourself out of harm's way physically. Don't purposely endanger yourself. Be careful who you associate with. If you don't know where they've been, if you touch anything, wash your hands, all that fun stuff. But the thing is, when you're taking action and you've got the right mindset and you're focused in on doing things to improve your life, you're going to hit some roadblocks along the way. So, it's kind of like step back like that Indy race car driver and get an overview of the whole road and then take some sort of action towards what you want. So tonight, we're going to look at, expanding on the fact that life is choice, and to realize, you got to create some sort of movement. If there's things that you want to have in your life, if there's something that you want to make happen, even if it's learning meditation or just achieving some sort of state of inner peace in your body and in your mind, then, you need to realize that the higher power can't steer a parked car. So if you create the movement, and then you just trust in the process and pay attention to those synchronicities, that inner voice, right? Which might even be connected to the voice of a higher power or the universe or a combination, because it's coming to you on the level of your other than conscious at the very least, but maybe even what's called your superconscious, or spiritually could be called your soul, or the essence of who you are, right? And from the essence of who you are, there's no fear, there's no panic, there's no anxiety. That part of you, is steady. It just has this essence of knowing. There's no uncertainty at that level. So, a lot of people, have expressed to me they're feeling anxiety, they're feeling panic, they're feeling stress, they're feeling fear, but what we're going to do tonight is we're going to kind of help you to create the antidote for that. And the antidote for that is, first off, faith. All fears are obliterated by faith. And the faith is just having, even when there's no good reason to have certainty, to have this kind of inner certainty. And you gain that by, first off, being the creator of your life. And maybe it seems impossible to be the creator of everything in your life. Oh, this guy cut me off on the road. How could I have created that? Well, it starts with that level of resilience by having within you the feelings that you want. Remember earlier I mentioned health and wealth and love. So we're gonna start this meditation, and I'm gonna guide you first through finding these inner feelings, okay? And before we get too deep into the trance, I'm going to prompt you to create what in NLP terms we call an anchor. So really an anchor is a trigger, or, kind of the thing that kind of links a good feeling to a physical touch or a sound or a word that you have, and it can kind of trigger that emotion and that feeling in your body and in your mind to come up, which we're going to create a resource state for you. And also the trance is going to integrate it in a way that you can use that resource resourcefully. So unlike the miser who had hundreds of gold coins buried under his feet and refused to use them, imagine he dug up just one gold coin, then him and the pauper could go and enjoy many wonderful meals and clean up and get a shave and a haircut assuming they're not going through some sort of pandemic where all the hairdressers are closed. My hair is getting a little, it'll get crazier over the next couple of weeks for sure. My hair doesn't get long, it gets big, you know. I guess that's part of my ethnic background, who knows. But so I'm going to start the music. And again, you can just jump in. Everyone's still muted, but you can jump on the text if the music is really just crazy loud. But I think it should be good. And, you know, let's begin. So hopefully you're in a nice, comfortable place, maybe with headphones on, listening carefully. And you can keep your eyes open for a minute. You know, I'm just going to go over again. Some of you may have been on other classes where I've guided you through this, but the key thing is, you know, the guidelines to meditation or trance or just being in a relaxed state as I guide you through this. You know, the first one is pretty simple. It's all good. So what do I mean by that? It's all good. Well, some people, you know, go into kind of a light state. Some people go into a deep state. Some people go into a medium state. Whatever state of relaxation or trance or meditation you achieve, it's all good. It's the right state for you to achieve this level of wisdom that you're gaining through this knowledge and experiencing it at the same time. So it's a skill. You know, hypnosis, meditation, like any other skill, you learn by doing it, by practicing it. So, you know, my good friend Bryant, who kind of led me to doing this class the way that I do it, you know, he calls his mindful meditation a practice. He goes, you know, and after 20, 30 years, he's still practicing, you know, he's still getting it better and better. So what we want to do is we want to create you know, your kind of like go-to state, that ultimate resource, so that, you know, the miser, if he was ever to panic about money, he'd realize that he's got hundreds of gold coins. So he's got the resources. You know, he's got that to go to if he ever needs it. Even though he swore to never touch it, he could still change that choice and take out a gold coin and live it up a little bit. Enjoy life. So I want you to take a moment and just imagine these words in front of you. And if they bring up a feeling in your body, that's fine, but you're just going to experience it for a few seconds so that you realize what you want to replace it with. But just think about the word anxiety. Think about panic. Think about stress. Think about fear. Think about uncertainty. And just notice, you know, what that experience was like for you. And the other thing to realize in terms of guidelines is, you know, just allow any sounds or distractions around you, or even the sound of my voice or the music, to kind of just guide you back to an inner feeling of peace and relaxation, and guiding you into maybe a deeper trance. Okay, and then just realize it's all good. You know, sometimes people can cough or cry or laugh as they're going through this. It's all good. It's all part of the experience. Just allow yourself to experience the feelings that you get, no matter where they're coming from, and pay attention, enjoy it. Allow your intuition, your inner wisdom to guide you through this process. And I'm going to guide you to trust in your inner wisdom as you're listening to the sound of my voice. So I want you to begin to build a beautiful place for yourself. And I'm going to put out some words, but you can add in whatever words have meaning for you. So you might think of the word peace, you know, and then you could think about the whole thing. You can have a piece of peace, and then you can have all peace. And just notice what that would feel like, and where you'd feel it, and how that might help you to relax. And just notice the word relax. You know, when someone's not relaxed, the word relax sometimes doesn't work. But since you are relaxed, and I'm guiding you into even deeper relaxation, you can begin to realize that the word relax, when you hear the word relax, will allow you to go even deeper into a wonderful feeling in your body and in your mind, tuning into that part of you that realizes just what it means for you to relax and meditate. To take a moment to clear your mind of all the minutiae of thoughts that were going on, and to just really take a moment now to notice what you're feeling in your body. Notice just intuitively what part of your body, when I said feel your body, what part of your body you felt first and what part you felt next. And I'm not sure if you can feel your feet on the floor or the temperature of the air on your skin, or one part of your body touching another. I'm hoping you can hear the sound of my voice and the sound of the music mixing together, and possibly some added ambient sounds in the room around you. Or maybe even taking a moment to pay attention to that inner voice. And before you quiet it, notice what that inner voice is trying to tell you. And then just allow it to fade off in a way that you can experience more calm. That's right, calm. Notice what that means to you, if it has significance, if it's a good feeling that you can expand upon. That feeling of calm. So you've got a little bit of peace, maybe the whole peace, and some relaxation in your body and in your mind, allowing it to expand in a way that you can start to meditate and be mindful. Thoughts or feelings may drift in and out of the mind, and that's fine. Because the deeper you go, the more relaxed you can feel. And the more relaxed you feel, the more you can enjoy it. Enjoy the pleasure of the feelings in your body as you relax even deeper and deeper. Because the deeper you go, the better you feel. The better you feel, the more you relax. And the more fun that this process can be to bring joy into your life. Notice where you'd add in joy. We're creating a wonderful mixture of peace and relax and calm and meditate and fun and pleasure and joy and happiness. That's right. It can even bring an inner smile, or maybe even think of something, a happy moment, a happy time in your life, doing something you really, really enjoy. And that inner smile might even reflect outwardly. But just feel that wonderful feeling. And experience love. First for yourself, because all love begins with you. All of your love is a reflection of the love that you have for yourself. So even when you think about the prosperity of wealth and all the gold coins that you have available to you, the resources, the buried treasure in your life that you have yet to discover now, take a moment and scan your mind and your body in such a way that you can imagine that somewhere hidden within you, it may even be hidden inside panic and stress and fear and anxiety. So I'd like you to just take a moment and notice if you're feeling any kind of stress or panic or fear or anxiety at all in your body. Just imagine that it moves out of your body in front of you. And as it moves out in front of you, it gets larger and larger, but it moves further and further away from you so that you can start to notice more detail and yet distancing yourself from it at the same time. So just imagine it getting larger and larger and moving further away from you. So it actually looks the same size as if it was right in front of you, but it's really, really far away. But at the same time, really, really large. And you can notice more and more details about it. And within that fear or panic or anxiety or stress, noticing its shape and size and color, you might notice small glimmers of gold shining through. And as it continues to move further and further away and get larger and larger, you start to notice more of these gold, shiny spots. And then you might notice that it's moving closer and closer to the sun. It's so far away, it's moving towards the sun. And as it moves towards the sun, it begins to melt. And all of those impurities, all of those stresses and fears and anxieties and panics on the surface begin to burn off. And there's a cool property about gold. Unlike any other element, you can expose gold to the highest heat and it will melt, but it will not change its structure. It's still gold. You can expose it to the strongest acids and it may melt, but it's still gold. You can expose it to the strong amounts of electricity or various different scientific chemical elements, and it may melt it. You can obviously tell that it's malleable and you can change its shape and size, but it's still gold. So as it moves closer and closer to the sun, all of these other particles deep within or on the surface of it begin to also melt. Only they change in structure as they get closer and closer to the sun, getting hotter and hotter. And the process of creating pure 24 karat gold is really not about changing the gold. The gold is the same, but it's about removing those impurities. It's about removing the parts that don't belong. So all the negative parts begin to burn off. All the dross is disintegrated until it gets closer and closer to the sun. And now you've got this pure 24 karat liquid gold shining in the sunlight. The most wonderful resource for you. A peace, relaxation, a wonderful meditative state, calm, fun, pleasurable, enjoyable, joyful, with happiness and prosperity. And you can begin to imagine this wonderful feeling within your body, this wonderful state of being in your mind. Unaware of anything other than what you're allowing yourself to enjoy right now. Connecting to your inner wisdom, that part of you that's consistent, that part of you that has been on automatic pilot, guiding you, even at those times in your life where you seemingly resisted, even at those situations where you seem to get off track. That inner realization that everything happens for good reason, and you don't need to reason with it. To understand your inner wisdom really just takes connecting to it, trusting in yourself, awakens a connection to health in your body and in your mind, really exploring what health means to you. Physical health, is more than just not being sick. Physical health is about being vibrant. Physical health is about feeling good and energized, perhaps. Feeling good is a sense of energy and an awareness of being on your path. That in the moment you're the best version of yourself. It could mean physical things like the shape and size of your body, the functioning of your organs in harmony with each other, the mental thoughts that guide the functioning of your body consciously or mostly unconsciously. The resiliency of your body to heal itself and to stay healthy. Or aspects of wealth, which could on the surface mean money or income or savings. But there are people that have really close friends in their life that they can count on, that they can rely on, that you have as a resource, these wonderful friendships. You have talents, you have skills, you have abilities. You have a wealth of knowledge that you've applied over time that's become wisdom. You have a wealth of inner wisdom that when you listen will guide you to have even more of what you truly desire in all aspects of your life. And love. Love for yourself. This deep inner love that when you love yourself, now you truly have the ability to love others. and to share this love that you have for yourself through the expression of being loving to others. So if you were to imagine a stairway that leads down to a door, and it's 5 steps down to this door, and written on the door is control room. And a lot of people in today's day and age like to be in control. But this is about being in control of yourself on an other than conscious level. And you can ponder that as you take the first step down, deeper into that other than conscious part of your body and mind connection to your inner wisdom, guided by health, wealth, and love. As you take the second step down to the third step, 3 steps down to that second step, you realize that on the second step you're deeper into the control room than you were at the 4th step, but not as deep as you will be in a moment when you take that 4th step down to the first step. And finally, taking that 5th step all the way down and opening the door and entering the control room. You look around and see a bunch of gauges and dials and levers and knobs and switches and valves. All the things you might expect to find in a control room. Only you notice that each one of them has a label. Not what you would have expected to say on it. The first one says heart. Another one says lungs. Another one says positive thoughts. And even on the furnace, there's a label that says metabolism. And as you look around, you begin to notice that there's a lever, a gauge, a dial, a knob, a switch or valve that relates to every single function of the human body and mind, every single organ in the human body. And it can be very confusing as to what to do. You wouldn't dare make an adjustment on any of them because you wouldn't know which way to adjust it. But by coincidence, you look across to the other side of the room, and on a table is a book, a magnificent book, leather bound and gilded in gold with hand embossed lettering on the front cover. And it says the ultimate guide to the control room of your mind. And it even has your name on it. And given the fact that it has your name on it, you can become curious and open the book. And you notice the table of contents lists all the functions and organs of the human body and functions of the mind and emotions. And given that it's a book about you and your control room in your body and in your mind, you begin scanning the pages and taking in the information at 10,000 times the normal speed that you'd even be able to take in information. And you turn to the first page and you see a picture of your heart perfectly healthy, the ideal shape and size, and then listed are all the ideal settings for the gauges and dials of a perfectly perfectly healthy heart, your heart. And then below it, you see a troubleshooting guide that if any of these gauges or dials or levers or knobs are not at their ideal setting, or your heart's not functioning 100%, the exact sequence and the exact dials and gauges and knobs and levers and valves, switches that you can adjust to restore a perfect functioning of your heart. And given the importance and significance of this information, you notice how you quickly and easily memorize it, because it's just that important for you. And as you turn the page, you see lungs and mind and positive thoughts, and you begin flipping through the pages and memorizing at 10,000 times the normal speed that you'd ever even be able to read. You're memorizing all the information on each of the pages because it's important to you. And as you're flipping through these pages, your mind begins to drift. And you begin to imagine how wonderful it is the day after you're fully experiencing the ultimate in health, the ultimate in wealth, the ultimate in love. It's the day after you've accomplished everything that you're wishing and hoping and dreaming for in your life. And just notice how you feel thinking about this now. Imagine the experience of it, and where you're at and what you're doing, and just enjoy it. Enjoy the experience in your body and in your mind, until finally you realize how wonderful it is. And you've finished memorizing all of the pages in the book. And then just intuitively trusting that inner wisdom and the added knowledge you've just gained, that you can go around the room and start adjusting the gauges and dials and levers and knobs and switches and valves in the perfect sequence to enhance your body, your mind, your spirit, to become an even better version of yourself, inspired and connected to your inner wisdom, with the real opportunity, the realization of a better version of yourself emerging from deep within and expanding through every cell in your body, through every thought in your mind, through every word you speak, expressing the truest essence of the best version of you. Calm, relaxed, peaceful, joyful, pleasurable. You. And even tonight as you sleep and dream, and each and every night when you sleep and dream, if you want, you can return to the control room in your body, in your mind, making any adjustments that you need to be in tune with the healthiest, wealthiest, most loving version of yourself. And with this realization, you can begin to open the door of the control room and walk up to that first step and take that first step up, integrating this knowledge and the application of the knowledge from within. To become a resource that you can use resourcefully every moment or every day of your life. Can't you? Realize even more benefits as you take it to the next level, the second step up. Integrating all this other than conscious wisdom along with your conscious thoughts and abilities. The third step up to awareness. Awareness of perhaps the clues that will lead to discovering the buried treasure within. That fourth step up. That feeling that it's almost complete, and yet there's still more for you to experience at that fifth level of conscious excellence, where you have conscious awareness of the wonderful inner wisdom, that wonderful excellence of skills and abilities and awareness, and the resources that you have that you can use resourcefully to enjoy your life even more. So as you imagine now, the liquid gold begins to move back towards you, getting closer and smaller and cooler, returning to its original shape and size as it gets closer and cooler and smaller, until finally it's right in front of you. And now you can notice it's pure 24 karat gold, peace, relaxation, calm, fun, pleasurable, love, joy, happiness, prosperity, and the ability to meditate on these. And you can return it back inside of you to its original place. Purified. So in a moment, I'm going to count from 1 up to 5. And when I reach 5, you can open your eyes, fully awake, fully aware, and fully alert of just how good it feels to have this inner resource of trusting your inner wisdom, that it truly is pure 24 karat gold within you. Simply because the whole time you've been listening, you've had some conscious thoughts and you've had some other than conscious thoughts, haven't you? Been integrating your conscious will and your other than conscious imagination, working together as one in full rapport with each other. 2, help you to realize and extract any benefits that you had gotten from that unresourceful dross in your life. Realize the benefit of that and apply it to the pure 24 karat gold learnings that you have of how to create this inner meditative wisdom within yourself, to trust your inner guide. And you can begin applying it in the next 3 seconds, the next 3 minutes, over the next 3 days for sure. 3 ways in which you can fully realize that you're even more resourceful than you thought you were. And you have the resources you need. Not just for yourself, not just for the love that you have for yourself, but for everyone in your life, everyone who experiences you, everyone you come in contact with, to just go, wow, you're amazing. You're so resourceful. You're a shining light in these dark times. You're like pure 24 karat gold inside and out. You've got that Midas touch, so to say. So when you're ready to feel that Midas touch, when you're ready to kind of breathe in the rare air and just like smell all the wonderful flowers that are coming out in springtime and just get a taste of how deliciously wonderful your life truly is, and just hear the difference in your own inner voice telling you how well you can be resourceful by using the resources you have even more resourcefully. And you hear others telling you and praising you for how you seem somehow different than most of the other people in the world these days. Then and only then can you now awaken all 5 of your senses, opening your eyes, fully awake, fully alert, and fully aware of just how good you feel connecting to that wonderful, wonderful inner wisdom, aren't you? So, you can come back now. Hopefully you're still there. I see everybody's name or picture is on the screen, but feel free to unmute yourself, share something about your experience of that. If there's anything perhaps that you didn't like, let me know. Or certainly if you did like it, let me know that too.
That was great. Thank you.
Glad you enjoyed that. So my goal for these meditation parts is I finally figured out the technology behind it to extract just that part of the audio, and then I can give that out as the gift that people can listen to it over and over again if you want. So would anybody like that gift?
Yes, Mark, I would like that gift.
Okay, cool.
It was great.
I'm just really checking in to make sure people are like awake and still there, like it's okay, No one can see you, so you wipe the drool off your chin or whatever. I don't know. The first time I experienced trance, I just knew that like I have to do this again. So this is kind of like a guided meditation, a trance, hypnosis, whatever you want to call it. It's they're all related, and the key is that it brings you to a good place in your body and in your mind to just relax and have that kind of mini vacation to reset, for the week, and you can take it with you. Anyone else want to share anything? Any questions you have for me? Feedback? Things I just need to know? Anyone? Unmute yourself and feel free to share. Otherwise, I have to keep talking. We got another 7 minutes. I mean, you can just enjoy this wonderful feeling in your body and in your mind. You don't have to talk. I can keep talking. But if you want to say something, feel free to unmute yourself. This is your time to share or to speak up. Okay, cool. I see some people commenting in the chat, Steve. So I'm going to share my screen with you, and this is where you can go to get more information, to email me, to give me feedback. And I asked at the beginning of the class, not everybody was here yet, but I'm going to ask again to please send me some feedback. What is it that you want more of? What parts of this do you really like? How we can make it appealing so that you can invite more people. The goal is to grow this. I'm willing to do this for free, and to see how we can grow this to 100 people, just to make sure that we're offering the most valuable content possible. And there's some people that won't show up when it's free, and I get that. Then hopefully we can overcome that limitation and get them to come anyhow if it's the right class or the right thing for them to be in. I mean, personally, I can't think of anyone who wouldn't need to meditate and relax at least once a week. I discovered it kind of by accident. And once I discovered it, it's something that it's part of my morning ritual. If any of you want, I'll tell you what, if any of you want a resource, I will, email me, and then I'll reply to you with a link of the music that I use, not the one that you just listened to, but music that I listen to. That's actually, there's 4 different versions of each level. So it's called Zen 12 meditation. It's a lot quicker than this meditation. It's 12 minutes. It's Zen 12, right? So it's 12 minutes in the morning. So what I do is I set 2 alarms for myself in the morning. The one alarm that wakes me up so I can put on my headphones connected to my iPod that's right next to my bed. And it's already set up for the level of the meditation that I'm at. So it's 12-minute meditation. There are 12 different levels. You kind of go through one level and progress to the next as you're ready. They take you to a different level of consciousness in your mind. And I think it's just a really cool program. And this guy from Australia is one of my go-to people for hypnosis. And the other thing that I'd like to offer you is, you can send me an email, you can give me a call or text me. A couple of people have already reached out to me for, to touch base about things going on in your life, or, individual things that you might not want to share in a group. And then we can set up, if need be, a discovery call, which in the discovery call, what I do is I guide you through discovering where you're at, where you want to be, and ultimately what resource and resourceful state and actions it's going to take for you to get there. So the cost for that is just $60, and that really just covers the expense of putting that together for you. And I give you a ton of resources along with that. There's no one that's ever complained that they didn't get far more than $60 worth of value out of that. But that's really, what I can do to help you. To let you know a quick little bit about myself, I am the personal mind trainer. So what does that mean? That means I use hypnosis. It means I use NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, and it means I use coaching to help you to relax and clear that chatter in your mind, to envision what it is that you do want in your life, and to take the action to make wonderful things happen for you. And I work with people that have their own business. I work with people that are looking to start a business. I work with people that are just looking to, everybody knows what a personal trainer is. They help you work out your body. They coach you, they guide you, they push you a little bit, they keep you accountable. So I'm the personal mind trainer. I coach you and guide you and push you a little bit harder with your mindset, so you kind of got the first part of it tonight, the relax part. It all starts with relaxing. You can't think about what you do want if you're in a state of being less than resourceful. So this is a resource for you to be more resourceful. And I hope you're feeling it. And if you think others might benefit from it, invite them next week. Okay. The link that you have is good for the entire month of April. When you initially registered, you could pick and choose the classes you wanted to come to, but the behind the scenes secret is that the link works for any of the classes, even if you didn't register for them. It's the same link for each class, which on Zoom, it actually saves the previous ones in a drop-down menu. So even if you just jump on the Zoom app or Zoom on your computer, you can go to the meeting ID, and it's got a little drop down next to it, and you can pick and choose this meeting ID, and it'll automatically log you into this class again. For the month of April, for May, we may change it. Anyhow, it's all good. I wish you well, and I thank you for being here, and peace.
Thanks, Mark.
Okay.
Have a great weekend.
Okay.
Happy Passover.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good night to all.